Hello viewers, good day. Students, do you all like to read books? Of course, you like to read books. Do you read biographies and autobiographies of great people like Mahatma Gandhi? Of course, some of you and some of you may not read. Now I am going to show you an excellent book, a great book written by, you can recognize who he is. Yeah, you are all correct. He is Dr. APJ Abdulkalam, an autobiography of Dr. Abdulkalam with Arun Tiwari. Yeah, have you read this book? Of course, this book is also translated into Telugu by name Oka Vijayata Atma Kada, translated by Chena Veerabhadrudu. Please read this book. If you don't read this book until now, some of you might have read this book. Now I'll explain to you the autobiographical touch of Dr. Abdul Kalam to you. You can see here, he is Dr. Abdul Kalam. He was born on 15th October 1931 at Rameswaram. And to the parents of Dr. Awul Fakir Jainuddin Abdul Kalam, he was born on 15th October 1931 at Rameswaram. And he is a defense scientist, a defense research development scientist, and he is an architect of missiles. He is fondly called the missile man of India. So he introduced Agni, Akash, Prithvi, Nag and Trisul on our indigenous technology, and he is a pioneer of vehicle launch. So he is a defense scientist and he has got so many awards also. So he has got Padma Bhushan in 1981, Padma Vibhushan in 1990, and he has been awarded a coveted award, Bharat Ratna, the prestigious, the greatest award of Bharat Ratna in 1990 by then the President Dr. K.R. Narayan. You can see here for his enormous service to our defense, for the integrity of our India, he has been awarded Bharat Ratna. Now, after that, what happened? You all know that he has become our 11th President of India. So, you can see here, he was swearing as 11th President of India by the Supreme Court Justice. So, he became our 11th President of India in 2002. So, after that, you all know as a President how he administered us, how he has been lauded and applauded throughout the world. Now, by this time, you might have understood that we are going to know about Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. And do you know his autobiographical sketch with Arun Tiwari, Dr. Arun Tiwari, has been given in our textbook. Under which title do you know? Can you tell me? Yes, you are all correct. The title is My Childhood. So we are going to learn the lesson My Childhood. And as I introduced you to Dr. Abdul Kalam was born in Rameswaram in a small village to Jainuddin. You can see here Jainuddin, his father of Abdul Kalam, Jainuddin, and his mother Ashiamma, an ideal housemaker, a helpmate to his father. His father was neither educated nor a wealthy man, but of course he has got a lot of innate wisdom and a saintlyhood. He is applauded by all other communities at the time in Rameswaram. We can see here Abdul Kalam's house is located on Mosque Street. His house is located on Mosque Street. So you can see the house of Dr. Abdul Kalam's, and you can see here the temple of Lord Shiva at Rameswaram. where it is a famous Hindus pilgrim place. So it is famous for Lord Shiva at Rameswaram. You can see here. Of course, who is the chief priest of this temple? Pakshi Lakshmana Sastry, who was also one of the closest friends to his father, Abdulkalam's father, Abdin. So he was the chief priest of the temple, Pakshi Lakshmana Sastry. You can see here. So children, now you somehow you viewed the then pictures, visuals of Rameswaram and Abdulkalam's house and his father, and you came to know that place was very famous for Hindu pilgrims, and the residing deity is Lord Shiva. Now shall we go into the lesson? So what happened to our Abdul Kalam in our childhood? So we are going to the lesson. You can see here, in his childhood, Abdul Kalam's father used to build a boat, a small dais for the traditional Sitaram Kalyanam during Sitaram and Navami, and you can see here how the religious harmony prevailed there, and you can see Abdul Kalam participating in the Sitaram Kalyanam Mahotsavam. You can see here. So like that, Abdul Kalam used to participate in his childhood, and their family is very noted for the religious harmony, though they are Muslims, and his father has a good friendship with the chief priest of Lord Shiva's temple, Pakshi Lakshmana Sastry. Now you can see here in the school, so Abdul Kalam's friends, Abdul Kalam with friends Ramanatha Sastry, Aravindan and Shiv Prakasham. So Abdul Kalam used to sit along with his friends in the first row. One day what happened, his teacher, he could not digest, he could not take into his mind. He was irritated that Abdul Kalam sitting beside Ramanatha Sastry, and he immediately asked Abdul Kalam to go and sit in the last row. So Abdul Kalam did accordingly. So immediately his friend Ramanatha Sastry, he has got discouraged. He has got discouraged, and out of his disastrous mood, he felt a lot. Then they reported this incident to their respective parents, and his father, Pakshi Lakshmana Sastry, came and warned the teacher not to indulge such sort of religious discrimination among the people, students, and he had even warned him to leave the school instantly. Either he should apologize to the students. The reformed teacher apologized to the students as well as to their parents. Then that was one of the examples of religious tolerance that was shown during those days in Rameswaram by Abdul Kalam's family and his friends' families, and how the friendship was strong also. Now students, so far we learnt in the first segment, we read the lesson in the first segment, and the second segment we are going to learn how Abdul Kalam has been invited by his science teacher's house, Shiva Subrahmanya Swami's Ayars, to a lunch, and how he went there, and how Ayar's wife, being a conservative, traditional orthodox Hindu woman, how she treated Abdul Kalam, and how Abdul Kalam was being invited next time to their lunch. This is all you are going to read in our second segment. So before we read, before I explain on behalf of you, I ask you to give a silent reading. Please go silent reading. Here you can see the silent reading here. You are all reading silently. Your teacher, Mr. Ravi Kumar, my colleague English language teacher Ravi Kumar, is making you read silently. As and when you read silently, some of you may get doubts, So here a student has got doubt.
So how is it pronounced? Literally.
So students, you read silently. While you were reading silently, my colleague English language teacher, Mr. Ravi Kumar, how he clarified your doubts as and when you get doubts regarding pronunciation and meaning. So you did the first step of reading. So after that, what are you going to read? Of course, you are all going to read within the groups. Within groups, you are going to understand. You are going to share more language, more pronunciation, and more meanings. So how you are going to read? I will show here. Yeah. Well, you read a collaborative reading, that is group reading, and most of you have clarified your respective doubts with your English language teacher, Mr. Ravi Kumar. And you might have heard that there is some noise. Of course, where there is noise in English language classroom, there is voice of students. So noise is learning. So the noise that you make in English language class means that you are learning. So your noise is welcome. Now some of you raised your doubts. How your teacher clarified your doubts on the blackboard, I will show you on the blackboard here. Well, you all read, you all followed your teacher's instructions, you all understood more regarding the lesson. Now what we are going to do, you are going to read a loud reading. So how your teacher is going to make one of the students read aloud, and while he reads, how he is going to be corrected, the student is going to be corrected. I will show here loud reading.
He invited me to his home for a meal. His wife was horrified at the idea of a Muslim boy being invited to dine in her ritually poor kitchen. He refused to serve me in her kitchen. Subramanya here was not perturbed, nor did he get angry.
And your father is ready?
Yes, sir. Nor did he get angry with his wife, but instead served me with his own hands and sat down beside me to eat his meal. His wife watched us from behind the kitchen door. I wondered whether she had observed any difference in the way I ate.
So students, you watched a student reads aloud and how he is corrected by the teacher. After that, I am going to read on behalf of you as if you are reading on your own, and we are going to comprehend the passage, how his Shiva Subramania Iyer, Abdul Kalam science teacher, invited him to have a lunch in his house. So, shall I read? Yes. Remember, after my reading, I am going to ask you some questions. So, you are all prepared with giving me answers. So, I am going to read it. So, here, one day he invited me to his home for a meal. His wife was horrified at the idea of a Muslim boy being invited to dine in her ritually pure kitchen. She refused to serve me in her kitchen. She refused to serve me in her kitchen. And Shiva Subramania Iyer was not perturbed, nor did he get angry with his wife, but instead served me with his own hands and sat down beside me to eat his meal. His wife watched us from behind the kitchen door. So, students, shall I ask you some questions? Yes. First question is, what does Muslim boy refer to here? Here in the above paragraph, who is Muslim boy? Of course, you all know the Muslim boy is Dr. Abdulkalam. And the second question is, she refused to serve me in her kitchen. Why? You all know she is a conservative woman, an orthodox woman. Besides that, Abdul Kalam was a Muslim boy, because he was a Muslim boy. Now I am going to read the second paragraph. Who was Shiva Subramaniam Iyer? The third question. You all know Shiva Subramaniam Iyer was his science teacher. And the last question, was Iyer angry with his wife when she refused to serve meals to Abdul Kalam? Was Iyer, his science teacher, angry with his wife? No, he was not angry. Now I shall continue my reading. I wonder whether she had observed any difference in the way I ate rice, drank water, or cleaned the floor of the meal. When I was leaving his house, Shiva Subramania Iyer invited me to join him for dinner again the next weekend. Observing my hesitation, he told me not to get upset, saying, once you decide to change the system, such problems have to be confronted. So, you have to watch it. Once you decide to change the system, such problems have to be confronted. What are such problems here? When I visited his house the next week, Shiva Subramaniam Iyer's wife took me inside her kitchen and served me food with her own hands. And here you can see how Shiva Subramaniam Iyer's wife serving food with her own hands to Abdul Kalam. You can see his science teacher is happy to watch his wife serving food to Abdul Kalam. Here you can see. Now students, do you want me to ask questions? I am asking you the first question. When did Iyer invited Kalam for dinner? Yeah, you all know, next week. And such problems have to be confronted. What are such problems? As you know, such problems here, religious and caste discriminations. Religious and caste discriminations are such problems. Now students, you all read the given passages with very good attention. You all comprehended the passages, and you all understood how Abdul Kalam is being ill-treated by the his science teacher's wife, and later how she has been reformed, and how she served food with her own hands to Abdul Kalam, and of course how Shiva Subramania Iyer was religious tolerant, and how he was a rebel against then existing religious discriminations. Now I want to show you Abdul Kalam's speech. Of course, here Dr. Abdul Kalam's speech, he doesn't speak on his own. Of course, his speech is made by a student, by Mr. Venkatesh, our student, and you can see his speech regarding Abdul Kalam's three visions. When Abdul Kalam gave this speech on the occasion of IIIT function at Hyderabad on 27th September, in 2011, he made the speech about three visions, how he had got three visions about India. Now I am going to show you a picture. Of course, the last question was with his own hands. How did Iyer's wife serve food with her own hand? Now I am going to show you the picture.
Dear friends, I have three visions for our country. In 3000 years of our Indian history, people from all over the world came and invaded us, captured our lands, conquered our minds. From Alexander onwards, the Mughals, Portuguese, Dutch, Britain, France, Germans, all of them came and looted us and took over what was ours. Yet we have not done this to any other nation because we respect the freedom of others. That's why my first vision is that of freedom. I believe that our India got my first vision of this in 1857 when we started War of Independence. It is a freedom that we must protect, nurture and build on. My second vision, India is a development. For 50 years, we have been a developing nation. It is time we saw our nation as a developed nation. I have third vision. India stands to the world because unless India stands to the world, no one will respect us. Only strength respects strength. We must be strong, not only as a military power, but also economic power.
Of course, you are all pleased to watch Venkatesh giving a speech of Abdul Kalam and how he made the role play for Dr. Abdul Kalam. And what are the end words of Dr. Abdul Kalam regarding his three visions? Of course, strength respects strength. Only strength respects strength. My dear students, you ask a question yourselves: Are we really strong as a nation? Of course, India is a diversified country. Unity in diversity. We are all unity in diversity. But there are religious discriminations and social inequalities and regional discriminations and caste discriminations and regional discriminations and nepotism. On top of all these, there are atrocities on women, on children. And are we going ahead? Are we developing ahead as a unified nation? We have to ask question ourselves. So we have to plea our India, our nation, to be united, to forget the religious discrimination, religious rights, and caste, nepotism, and regionalism, and separatism. So here I am going to show you some students who pleaded with the nation for a unified India. Here you can see here a plea for India. This is a poem. That is under B reading, and how one of our students, Mr. Manikanta, is going to recite a plea for India here.
We Indians are proud to be a strong nation. Our rules we declare cannot be shaken. Then why these fights which leave us in poor plight, irrespective of a reason, forget the caste which makes us lose our charm.
Yeah, you all watched here. Now our another student, Mr. Govardhan recited the poem. How he can see here.
Let us ignore the selfish call of each region and listen for one's call of the nation. Why do we spend our time bickering when so many tasks need finishing? Don't we have better things to do than indulge in creative problem in you?
Yeah, you all watched Mr. Manikanta and Govardhan doing role plays and reciting the poems, and I am going to show you the poem what Mr. Manikanta has recited, and I want you to comprehend the poem also. Now, we Indians are proud to be a strong nation. Our roots we declare cannot be shaken. Then why these fights which leave us in poor plight, irrespective of our region? Here you can see here nation shaken and fights, plights. Of course, I am going to ask you a question. Why are we proud? Yeah, we are all proud to be a strong nation which cannot be shaken. Our roots cannot be shaken, and which leave us in poor plight. Fights leave us in poor plight, and which makes us lose our charm. As you all know, the casteism and caste leave us lose our charm. Now I am going to show you another poem that is recited by Mr. Rahul. Of course, he made a role play. You all watch him and enjoy the role play that Mr. Rahul has made. You can see here.
Go a long way. We have to think seriously, else we end up miserably. Then let our mind throw the rod, devote our time to fierce thoughts.
Yeah, I am going to show you another poem.
Let us control the riots which leave us with no choice but hang our heads in shame and say we are miserably failed. We have the power to win, so why not end this din?
Yeah, I am going to comprehend what he has recited. So you can see here, let us control the rights which leave us with no choice but to hang our heads in shame and say we have miserably failed, and we've the power to win, so why not end this din? Now I am going to ask you a question. What should we control? Yeah, you are all correct. The riots, we should control the riots and leave us with no choice. What does us refer here? Yeah, you are all correct. Us refer to here Indians, and which makes us hang our heads in shame. Yeah, the riots make us hang our heads in shame. And what is meant by din here? Of course, din is disturbance. Din means disturbance, but here din means communal rights and racial discriminations. So students, you watched the poem A Plea for India, you watched the poem A Plea for India and the role plays that were made by the students, and you understood that the national integrity only strength only respects strengths. Students, in our earlier lesson, and we somehow discussed the societal conditions of Rameswaram in those times. So on the whole, Rameswaram was segregated, and though our science teacher, an orthodox Brahmin, and however he was a rebel, and he made the situation so that there would not be any communal rights. I am going to show you those lines that we've read. So here,
Let us unite and fight against those who incite. Let us not be misled by those who want to see us dead. We have a strong, united nation. All we need is a bit of dedication.
so I am going to show you that on the whole, the small society of Rameswaram was very rigid in terms of segregation of different social groups. However, my science teacher Shiva Ayya, though an orthodox Brahmin, was very conservative, with a conservative wife, was something a rebel. Here you can understand the underlined words: on the whole, however, and though. So what are these words? And on the whole, there were earlier conditions, and to summarize those conditions, the segregation of the society here, the award is being used on the whole. So however, though the conditions might be there, however, in contrast to that idea, my science teacher, and though he was an orthodox Brahmin, so here you have to watch these words, and what do we call them? Of course, he did his best to break social barriers so that people from varying backgrounds could mingle easily. So that it says as some result here. So you can see here, these are called sentence linkers, and on the whole, it tells us the purpose of to summarize. It tells us the purpose of to summarize, and however, contrast, though it also a contrast purpose, and so that it's a result. So by now, students, you understood what these words mean. They are linkers. Linkers means they are sentence linkers. On the whole, however, though, so that, in spite of, despite, besides, firstly, like that. There are then, thus, therefore, hence, so, because. You all watch these words in our respective paragraphs, and what function do they perform in the given lines? Of course, you are all correct. They link one sentence with another sentence, and they link the above mentioned idea from one sentence to another sentence. In a way, they are sentence linkers, and we can also call them as discourse linkers, and discourse markers, and discourse connectors. We call them discourse connectors, and cohesive connectors, cohesive and adverbial conjunctions also. We can say that adverbial conjunctions. Now I am going to show you some other sentence linkers here. How they appear? Here. He is a player. He is discouraged. How he is discouraged and why he is discouraged, you know. He might have lost the game and he is defeated, and how the linkers appear here, you can understand the form here. You can see one thing, he is discouraged, however he is going to play hard next time. So this player is discouraged, however he is going to play hard next time. Students, what purpose does however serve here? Of course, contrast. However serves here contrast. So here you can replace the however. The sentence is, he however is going to play hard next time. He however is going to play hard next time. Now you can replace however also. He is discouraged. He is going to play hard next time. However. So through this idea, students, I want to explain to you in the form of sentence linkers. The sentence linkers may appear anywhere in the sentence. Some sentence linkers may appear in the beginning of the sentence, or in the middle of the sentence, or at the end of the sentence. Just we watched here. However, a sentence linker which means a contrast meaning, a concessional meaning, it appeared in the beginning of the sentence, in the middle of the sentence, or in the end of the sentence, like we all watch. I am going to show you how these linkers mean. Of course, you learnt the form of the linker, the form of the sentence linkers, and how they mean. They mean for a contrast idea, a reason idea, and ordering idea. Time linkers are there, ordering linkers are there, and cause and reason, and additive linkers are there, and summarization, to summarize, to conclude, and attitudinal linkers. Some linkers tell us about the attitude of the speaker, and discourse. Besides these sentence linkers, and discourse markers are also there. Of course, discourse means here anything that is written and spoken, that is discourse. Now I am going to show you linkers meaning, ordering. First you get some vegetables, next you chop them up, then you throw them in a pot of boiling water. You can see here the linker here ordering, first, next, then. These three linkers joined these three ideas. Okay. Now linkers of addition, I like cricket, he says like I like cricket, and he says I like football. So I like cricket and football, and is a linker. I like cricket, I also like football, also is a linker. And I like cricket, I like football too. So here these three linkers are addition linkers. Students here, besides these three addition linkers, there are some more addition and additive linkers. Of course, besides means in addition to. So besides these three linkers, there are some more linkers. One is in addition to, and further, furthermore, and as well as. In addition to, like there are some addition linkers. Now I am going to show you linkers of result. Here you can see here, you have three, I have three. The boys are speaking with each other. You have 3 books and I have 3 books. And how you have 3 and I have 3, therefore we have 6 together. You have 3 and I have 3, therefore we have 6 together. Students, here you can replace therefore here with so. So also a result and cause linker, and you can see thus, so, therefore, hence is also a cause linker. So students, here I am going to show you some other result and cause linker, like so that you can see here, and it is an interesting place, we are going to visit it again. So here such, you have to combine these two sentences using with such. So here it is such an interesting place that we are going to visit it again. You can see here, it is such an interesting place that we are going to visit it again. It is being combined by such that. Now this boy is feeling sick, and I am suffering from fever. I am staying at home. You have to link these two sentences with so. I am suffering from fever, so I am staying at my home. So I am staying at my home. So instead of so also, you can say that as also, as I am suffering from fever, I am staying at my home. And another sentence here, he is suffering from cold, severe cold, he is staying at his home. He is staying at his home. Here you can link these words with because. He is staying at his home because he is suffering from cold. Here the sentence is the cause, the resultant cause is because. Okay. Now linkers of summary, as I earlier gave you an example, and on the whole, to summarize in an abstract sense, on the whole, the small society of Rameswaram was very rigid in terms of segregation of different social group. Now linkers of concession, concession means where the result sentence ends with some surprise. So here, she got the 3rd highest rank, nevertheless she didn't get admitted to engineering. Now linkers of contrast. So you all know about what is a contrast. However, in spite of, despite, nonetheless, nevertheless, these are the contrast. He doesn't do any work, instead he plays on the computer. He doesn't do any work, instead he plays on the computer. He doesn't do any work, on the contrary he plays on the computer. So join these sentences with the linkers. Now you can see here, there were freezing temperatures, they trekked for hours. Here in spite of, it's a phrase, so it gives us the idea of contrast. In spite of freezing temperatures, they trekked for hours. You can see here, you can use here despite also. They trekked for hours despite freezing temperatures. Of course, in spite of and despite can be used synonymously in the most of the cases. And here the girls are playing in the rain, and here you can see the sentence, it is raining, they are playing. How do you combine these two sentences with although a linker of contrast, and although it is raining they are playing. You can see here, although it is raining and they are playing. You can see another sentence, here the situation is also raining, it is raining, they are walking. So you can say either although it is raining they are walking, or you can say here it is raining but they are walking, like that. It is raining but they are walking. You can see here another example here, it is raining they are going to school. You can see here, however, it is raining, however they are going to school. You can see here examples. You can see here, linking words help us in many ways in writing. For example, they help us in presenting our ideas in a meaningful way. Secondly, they help us to introduce and develop the main idea of a paragraph. Thirdly, they help us to illustrate and add supporting ideas. Here, next, they help us in moving from one idea to another by binding one sentence with another. Finally, they help us to understand the ideas presented in the paragraph. However, using too many linking words ruins the structure and coherence of the paragraph. So students, so far you understood the life history of Bharat Ratna Dr. APJ Abdulkalam, and how the details of his childhood, how there was a religious tolerance in his childhood that was practiced by his father and Pakshi, the chief priest of Pakshi, Lakshmana Sastry, and how in his childhood he is fascinated by the tolerant behavior of his science teacher and his friends, and how Abdulkalam rose to the level of Bharat Ratna and a defense scientist. And after that you learnt he is pleading for united India, and you learnt the poem A Plea for India. And after that we came into sentence linkers. In the sentence linkers we learnt the form of the sentence linker. Either sentence linker might appear in the beginning of the sentence. After that you learnt the meaning of the sentence linkers with respect to contrast and addition and summarization and ordering, like that. So students, with all this knowledge, will you practice the same thing, sentence linkers, in your respective conversations? Of course you will do. Until then, students, happy learning. Good day.